The Black Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Today is another day in the struggle for the liberation of Black people. This liberation demands revolution. The revolution lives within me. For I am the hope of the slave, the antagonist of the white supremacy conclave. I am the definition of ebony, a dense, black, hard, heavy, durable wood that safeguards everything in my neighborhood. I digest the delicious history of the African diaspora with my Caribbean cousins like breakfast molasses. For I'm a descendant of the Nubian kings and queens and those who survived the chains of the Middle Passage. You can try to incarcerate my body by convicting me of some trumped up crime, but my will is derived from the visions in Harriet Tubman's mind. We both know that your justice is profane, and you and your legal system have no disdain for how Crispus Attucks' children are constantly being slain.
Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel, Fully Loaded. I am Mecca Williams, the neighborhood hope dealer. Today we're going to just dive in and talk about what's been recent. Some of you may have seen the video of Ahmaud Arbery, a young 25-year-old who was killed in Brunswick, Georgia on February 23rd. Seeing this video can weigh heavy on you. And a few of my friends reached out and we just wanted to sit at the table and process what's been going on. It can be a lot. It can be a lot when you feel like, what can I do when I'm just fighting to exist? It can be a lot when you're a Black man and you're a runner and it terrifies you because it hits so close to home. I think my energy is anxious. In the morning, she has the most energy. And post-nap, it's like a third wind. I'm the exact same way. Yeah. the energy.
Y'all don't judge me, but I'm struggling with this.
Oh, here, I got you. Good.
You see, I had to use my nails a second ago.
I'm like, how the hell? You're still right.
Judge me for
I'm sorry. I haven't left the house in a while.
I know, right? Just the interaction.
This ain't even an undercut. It's an overgrowth.
Oh.
Yeah, see what I got going on, right?
No,
I got it. So I cut my hair. I don't know.
I saw that.
I cut my hair. I just impulsive, and I wanted something new, and now I got a little mini fro because as soon as I cut it.
Why you just letting it run free?
I felt dark, you know, so I just wanted to do what hey, look, it's in the wind. All right. But yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying getting to wear hats because before I have braids and all this other stuff, and now I'm like,
touche.
No, I'm okay with just a hat and some.
I'm gonna be like you when I grow up.
You know, some hoops, change up your whole.
It's different.
Yeah. Oh man, just everything is different. It seems like since quarantining, like you were saying, I'm struggling to get back into social interactions. And I'm like, so do we hug? Do we fist bump?
And it's almost like you're setting yourself up for a mini rejection, even though you know where they're coming from.
Yeah. And so I'm at work now, and so I'm a probation officer. So in the beginning, it was everyone was at home. Some people stayed, nobody in the office. Come back, half of the staff, everybody stay in your office. Then the governor decided to open up the state, and our job was like, oh shit, if he did it, we're gonna do it. So everybody's back at work, door closed, and I'm like, so do we talk to each other? Yeah, what do you do?
I work in construction, demolition company, but we didn't have to shut down because we're considered infrastructure.
Yeah.
But he finally let us go home. He was like, why are we waiting here?
Yeah.
But then the minute.
Oh man, it's like they were waiting on that. And I called it. I told my coworker, I said, I guess they're sending us home. I said, but watch, as soon as they open stuff, which I know is going to be May because they're missing out on too much money. As soon as they open it up, well, I know we told y'all a week, but we need everybody to come back in Friday. I was like, dang, how much time do I have?
Her boss, he disappears every week, you know. So he's not in the office.
So he's just telling y'all what to do from his house. He's probably in New Mexico somewhere, just chilling, parlaying.
He'll go on a golfing trip.
Yeah.
I would be like,
just leave y'all to your own device.
I know. Look, y'all know what to do. I'll be back later.
So if World War Z happens, we're hopping wherever the hell he's hopping.
He'll call me and be like, hey, can you do a get me cash out? And he'll like, go give me $5 grand and bring it to me at the airport.
That's goals.
That's
to be able to tell somebody, okay, do what I've asked you to do. You're going to get paid. I'll be back later. That's
Exactly.
life goals.
Exactly.
Right? Take your money, work.
Exactly.
Don't be fooled. Like,
Yeah.
he treats his people well. But
Yeah, he sounds like it though. I mean, to trust y'all enough.
Yeah.
Work for it. You know, hey, no hate over here. That's the goal, to be able to work to be able to say, you know what, I got y'all, but I got me too, and I'll see y'all later. Self-care every Friday.
Yeah, I think his self-care is, yeah.
The person before me hated not having him around. I prefer to not have a boss.
Right, the
I
micromanaging.
wish. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Can we trade?
I know. What is the movie? Little? Like, I wish
yeah.
I was you if I do that, and then maybe sprinkle this around a little bit, and then I'll wake up and get to do it. Oh, man. I can't stand
Let me tell y'all,
micromanaging.
so I actually just left my job earlier this week.
Okay.
Really?
Specifically because my boss liked to micromanage me. So he tried to come at me sideways, talking about some stuff that he thinks I didn't do. But the thing is, I did do it, and I sent it to him, but he never responds to me. Yeah, so we got into it, and finally I'm like, you know what? Adios.
Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Because you matter. Yeah.
I'm not with it anymore.
I feel like Aries individuals are not meant to work for people for long.
Yeah.
They're not meant to work
The
for
energy
people.
has been strong lately.
Especially when they try to micromanage. That is not gonna last. Like anybody that knows me, that they've worked with people that I've worked with, they're like, if they try to complain about me, they're like, oh no, she was the best at what she did. But if she was being shitty, she should have quit before then.
Yeah.
Like, she should have quit
Yeah.
prior to that.
Oh man, and the fact is, they think we're so expendable, and like we, oh my God, no, I really need this job. I've gotten to the point where I don't give a damn. I will live out in the tent before I let you talk to me any kind of way. God got me, I'm gonna figure it out.
That
I
part.
don't care, and I've gotten to the point to where you understand you are expendable on some jobs. So you have to change your attitude towards it, because you can't change them. So that's okay. You know what? I'm gonna do the best at what I do. I know I'm good at it, but I'm not gonna waver because of what you're telling me I am. I know who I am.
That's
I say this every
People
day.
are expendable at every job.
Yeah.
Every job.
Yeah, unless you work for yourself.
Yeah.
And even then the market can change.
And then you work for everyone else when you work for yourself. But the slowest way to get paid is to get a job. The slowest way to get paid
Slowest
is to
way
get a
to
job.
build wealth.
Is to get a job. Because you've already got, you can go outside and borrow $1. You go to that job, you gotta wait 2-3 weeks for your first check.
Yeah.
So you give them their time.
Whatever you can make.
Yeah. And there's always a ceiling.
Yeah.
Always. And I tell people, in the job that I'm in, I've understood you're not paying me to be the best me. You're paying the position. So whether I'm there or not, no matter how many people I see, no matter how much work I get done throughout the day, it doesn't matter, because either way, there's a job description. And as long as I'm doing the job description and that little fine and any additional duties, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter. It's just all about the job. It's not about the person.
And if you think from a boss standpoint, you're not gonna hire somebody that can bring you their worth. You're gonna hire somebody that can bring you more than what they're worth and pay them much less than what they're worth, so that you make a profit. You almost have to, in a sense, lowball their worth to make a profit, So you never get paid what you're worth.
Absolutely not.
You get a paid percentage so they can make profit off what you're worth.
Off of you. And then, they want you to come to these meetings and offer so many different suggestions. First of all, my intellect is not for free.
Exactly.
What are you going to offer me? And let's talk about this raise that comes with the same position, because you're not going to make me a supervisor and do more work, because all you're doing is paying me to manage conflict. You're not paying me because I'm smarter and that I'm doing well.
But do you believe that you have to do the position before you get the position?
I believe everything is teachable, though. Like, I feel like you can grow into some things. I mean, it's kind of like, so my job, they say it takes about 2 years to learn what you need to learn. And I'm like, you're absolutely correct. I've been there about 2 years now, but you know what? It would have taken me 2 years if I had trained me correctly in the beginning.
Right.
So I don't necessarily think that you have to be there for a certain amount of time. I think that if the people who have been there longer, if they took the time out to actually pour what they know into another person and water the seeds, then I think you get more out of it. But again, they don't want that.
Absolutely.
If they had that, then you'd have so many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Well, no, because some people, the respect level is there when you're not afraid to teach me.
Yeah.
And so the more you
Yes.
teach me, the more you learn, because there's going to come a day that I ask a question you have no answer to.
Yes.
And if you're wise, you will go find out the answer and bring it back to me. And then I'll always know that I can come to you about just anything, you know?
Yeah.
So then your values increase because I'm questioning things that you never thought of, and it's almost like two minds
Yeah.
going into this education and this lesson, you know?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
keep doing that, you end up with a whole team of people asking questions you never thought you needed the answers
Yeah.
to. So it's
And as a boss, it frees up so much of your time to teach
Yeah.
people how to do their job correctly.
It does in the beginning, or at least I'm one of those people. You don't necessarily have to give me the answer, but teach me how to fish, so I don't have to keep coming back to you because I hate having to ask questions,
Right.
feeling like I should know the answer. But it's like, yo, I would have known this
Yep.
if in the beginning you showed me where to go and find the answers, and then if you show me and things change and no one tells me, I'm back at square one again. But that's kind of what it's like working in anything. I used to work for the juvenile, so probation, any government sector, anything. It's never going to be stable. It's never going to be consistent. Unfortunately, the job's going to always be there. I'm waiting for the day though when someone puts me out of a job. I used to tell people that all the time. Yo, please put me out of a job. I'm cool with it. I'll go and read books all day. I'm okay with it. Put me out of a job.
Yes.
what's your sign again?
I'm a Leo.
Okay. I felt it. So for those that might be listening, we have Darryn, DJ, aka Afronautics on Instagram.
What's up?
Yes, we have Liz. She's pretty much a boss at all things. She knows how to do art, finances. She will build your business from the ground up or bring it from hell to back, okay?
Yeah.
So she's just Liz. What's your handle on Insta?
I have no idea. I heard about it. That's
Yeah, I think it's like Liz McPeters or Lizzie Boo, something like that. We're going to figure it out.
and post it.
Exactly. Then we got Shell. She's
Yes.
pretty much the boss's boss. She's a parole officer or probation officer. What's the
probation.
difference? Tell me, because I don't know.
One is federal and one is, I guess, local,
State.
state.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Parole, I
Sweet.
mean, they get paid big bucks, but they pretty much do a lot more work too.
Sheesh.
But everyone who starts out probation, I think everyone has the goal to go parole because it's a lot less restrictive, a lot more money, and once you get your foot in the door.
Is that the one you see in the movies where they're going to people's house, like, open up this door, I know you in here? Is it like, I picture Denzel knocking on my door right now.
I'm not gonna lie. When I found out we don't carry, I was like, I'm in the wrong county because what I need to do is I need the badge and I need the gun, and they're like, just go be a cop. No, that's not what I said. What I said was, but yeah. So I mean, it's kind of the same. Just I feel like the status is a little different and the expectations are different, and it is federal. So once your foot is in the door, you can always become an agent or go into the other different avenues. It's just a matter of getting your foot in the door somewhere.
Do you look to do that eventually?
I did, but there's a ceiling, like we said before, and I genuinely want to help people. So what I feel like I'm here to do right now is obtain all the knowledge I can and take it back to my people, let them know this is what's going on.
So if the
This is what
opportunity
you
were to
know.
present itself, though, you would?
Absolutely, because,
Okay, just making sure.
there's more information there.
Yeah,
right?
for
The
sure.
higher up I go, the more information I can give people.
Exactly.
So definitely.
Okay,
definitely I
cool.
would.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm nosy. I'm just asking. And what's your Instagram?
Mecca Williams.
Yes.
I'm starting my YouTube channel.
This
It's-
hurts stiff. I'm just talking a lot.
Yeah. Feel free to narrate. Yes, I'm loving it. So Mecca Williams YouTube channel. My name, I believe, is Mecca Williams. Find me on Facebook, Mecca Williams, and then you can just go to Instagram and find my YouTube channel.
Alright.
Absolutely, though.
And I'm Vee Faye. I pretty much am the uncommitted creative, just floating around out here trying to find my way.
Watering the seeds.
You know,
Jumping
trying
on the
to
road.
get my life. You know, things are working for me and it's working for us. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
So, what is your long-term situation?
Long term. So I've been playing with a lot of ideas. I know that there's a lot of assistance for kids and for like women that are going through things and men that are dealing with things. But I kind of want to help those people that are the in-betweeners that just don't have a support system. So like 13 to 17, 13 to, actually more around like 13 to 23 is what I feel. Because I feel like those are
They
the
leave
years
us out.
that, it's like you need some guidance. You just need somebody to just say, I'm for you, I support you, let's do this.
Yeah.
This is how you can do this. This is how you can do that. Let me know your dreams, you know. and help them make it real. So that's my goal at the end of the day, is to put myself in a position where I can do that.
Yeah.
And then when I'm 55 or somewhere around there, I'm gonna be a therapist somehow.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go to school or something. I don't know.
You don't
We'll
necessarily
see.
need to. You know, they throw the title life coach out there. There's right now the door's wide open.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Because I've been doing a little studying with that, and I don't know that I want to coach someone's life. I just kind of want to hear them, and with my wisdom, ask the questions that they need to be asked, so that they can kind of
Okay.
figure out their
guidance.
Yeah.
So then the title is just coach.
You know,
There you go. There you go.
Coach.
Yeah.
Coach V. I like it. I like the
Wherever
way
you
it
need
sounds.
me, I got you.
I like that.
Right.
I like
Right.
that.
Look, we can cheers to that one.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah.
Coach V, absolutely.
Man.
I like that. I like that.
So the thing that we came to talk about today, Michelle, I'm gonna give it back to you.
Ooh, Ahmaud Arbery. We'll start with the man in the room because I feel like, unfortunately, we don't always give y'all the voice. So the floor is yours.
So this one really, really hit me hard. So I run pretty much every single day. It's like I'll usually do about 3 or 6 miles, and whenever I started, me and my parents, we never had a conversation, but there was always kind of like this understanding, you have to be really, really careful, you don't know, what could happen, cross the wrong street at the wrong place, and this could easily have happened to me. And, I'm 25, just like what he was when he passed. I had to just shut down for a little bit after I heard about it.
Yeah.
But what's so crazy about it is that it was 2 months after he was killed, before anything was actually done about it. And it's just, it hurts so much.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think the unfortunate part about it is we see it so much, and it's I almost feel like the videos are making us desensitized to it, and we don't want to be.
See, so I have a theory about the video, and I'm a little bit on the opposite end as far as that. I feel like visuals make it real for some people.
Yeah.
And if we would have just heard this story, we would have imagined it. But seeing it happen changed it. And in a way, it does reinforce secondary trauma. I do believe that we are hurting more by witnessing it. But I also believe for those people that don't think that this is a reality, it's like, wake the fuck. Here it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, look at it.
Yeah. And it's flooded. For me, I'm an empath, so I feel it. I feel it in my spirit. I don't even have a son, but I feel like when you see it, I felt that. I immediately thought of all the people I encounter. I think of all my probationers that are black males who still tell me, yo, Miss Williams, I know I messed up, but I had this interaction with law enforcement and they treated me like this. And I'm, and I'm a nurturer. So I want to fix everything. I want to love you. I want to let you know I'm here. I want to let you know that, okay, even though this world might not see you, I see you. I want to figure out a way to help you. So the videos, they're constantly being flooded on social media. We're constantly seeing these news clippings about it. Everybody's on their soapbox about it. We're seeing videos, but at some point you just sit back and you say, okay, I'm tired of seeing it. And then you feel the emotions. You go through the grieving wheel, and it's like, I'm angry, I'm sad, I want to cry. And I tell people, look, whatever you want to feel, you feel all of that shit. Feel it all. But what are you going to do about it? Right. But even then, kind of, it puts a lot of people on the defensive, but it's real. It's real. What are you going to do about it?
And even just before we go to that point, for me, one of my biggest fitness goals was to be able to just run.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a weightlifter. I'm a HIIT workout outer. I will do hard, fast, workouts. Yeah. But my longest goal was to run, and for no other reason than that is the ultimate freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To be able to move yourself wherever the hell you want to go on your own 2 feet with no devices,
Yeah.
And so for me, that it hit me in that way, because it's like you can't even exercise the one freedom that requires nothing from anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just you, the pavement, your 2
Just
feet.
you.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's the one freedom that everyone has, no matter what their class, no matter what their, you can just go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was taken away. It took his life. Just that freedom. Just
And what bothers me so much about it is like he came this close to not even getting the justice,
Yes.
Because had there not been a video, had there
Yeah.
not been outrage, had there not been that visual, we would probably have not even known about it if people weren't posting it with the outrage they had. Because I'm on the outs of social media. Like I don't. If you look at my Facebook, I got less than 1,000 friends, and it was all family for a long time. And so it takes a long time for things to get around to me if I'm not looking for them. So that, I don't know. It's just. It's crazy.
So question right quick. Has everyone here seen the video?
I haven't.
So I haven't either.
I haven't. And I wanted to. I made it my duty, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I need to be knowledgeable. I need to watch it. I couldn't do it.
I couldn't
Protect yourself until you're ready.
I couldn't.
Because you are, like I said, secondary trauma is a real thing.
Yeah.
You will have to heal from that once you see it. It's hard to watch.
You know what hurt me the most as a Black woman is we're constantly complaining about the pool of good Black men. We don't have them, it's I don't believe in deadbeat baby daddies. I believe it's misinformed and miseducated and misguided Black men, so I don't feed into the stereotypes, but that was a good one. That was a good one. He was living his life the way, you would, America, right? You want us to go to the military. You want us to be healthy. You want us to be family men. You want us, so he was
It almost always is the good ones. Look at Sandra Bland.
It almost feels like, for me, because I'm a history nerd.
Yeah.
Anytime we have a good one, it seems like they're targeted and they're executed.
Yeah.
It's an assassination.
I also think it's also because if it had happened to someone who had dirt that they could use on them, then the story wouldn't have gone that far. I mean, think about if he were a Blood, Think about if he were a Crip. If he were gang affiliated, that story wouldn't have been an outrage.
Yeah.
Do you think it's always the good ones because they take themselves out of the environment that is considered like the hood, and they go into another environment where they become a danger to those in that new environment?
It's like almost like they're a threat to them, so that's why they become a target. Is that?
Or maybe because they're not the stereotypical Black person.
Have you been running in a Black
the
neighborhood
uniformed.
versus the white neighborhood? Would he be a threat?
So, on my way in, I saw this nice, wholesome white couple. They were video recording or taking pictures of a cute little puppy. And I wanted to stop and just be like, oh my God, that's so adorable. But my mind went into the neighborhood we're in. And I'm thinking, that's odd, that, they're over here in this neighborhood, taking pictures, which I feel you should be able to go anywhere and do it. But my thought is, how crazy is it that you can come over here and take pictures and do all of that, and you don't think twice about it? Or if you do think twice, it's because you're out of your element.
Right.
Flip that. We can't even run in the neighborhood because you see us as a threat, but you get to come over here and take pictures and record your cute little puppy dog.
Then to go a step further and say he wasn't obeying simple commands, bro.
Who are you?
That fucked
Who are
me
you?
up. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You could be Donald Trump yourself.
Yeah.
You could be President Obama.
Yeah.
No one has to listen to you.
Right. Right.
Like, genuinely.
Yeah.
They don't have to hear you. They don't have to listen to you.
Yeah.
Even as a cop, when people don't listen to you, that doesn't give you the authority to shoot them.
Exactly.
Right.
That doesn't give you the authority to hurt them. All you are supposed to do is use the least restrictive method to contain the danger.
De-escalation.
Hello.
So I was trained in that working at a juvenile.
Same.
So
because I worked in mental health.
Yes.
So
So de-escalation. So my first thought is, okay, granted these people weren't officers, but we know we have so many officers that are killing unarmed Black men and women, because Sandra Bland, say her name. So if I'm trained in de-escalation at a juvenile level, I know for a fact sheriffs and adults are being trained in something similar.
I actually was in the process of becoming a cop several years ago. And you'd be shocked at how little training there was. Like, I was thinking to become a cop when I worked in mental health care, just because I wanted to become a mental health deputy at one point. And it's really mind-blowing, like how little training they get. But it's also because when you look at juvenile centers and you look at mental health hospitals, the people that come into those places are everyone's family. I've taken care of the judges' kids. I've dealt with celebrities' parents and grandparents. I've dealt with a broad spectrum. So all of them can be affected if I'm not trained properly. But if you look at cops, they pick their people. They pick their victims.
And then they pick and choose what neighborhoods that they're patrolling to.
Oh, absolutely.
So that even goes into, we as a people got to get rid of this. I'm not with the cops. All cops are pigs, and I don't F with the police, which it's funny because I'll ride into my probation job listening to Webby, fuck the police, fuck the PO, like all of that. And I'm like banging it, and it's real, but I also have cops that are friends. I know so many people in so many different areas, but I can relate to F the police because the reality of it is, well, one, the music is a reflection of the reality. So I can separate those things, but I can also understand that even though you're a cop and you're my homie, you're my friend, and at one point in time I wanted to be an officer as well, the reality of it is when we see y'all, we feel like the majority don't see human beings. So when we see y'all, the defense goes up.
And I feel like it's almost going to continue to be a bigger issue because they're on the defense more and more and more. So the more wrong that happens in that industry, the more cop killings that there are, the more defensive they have to be because their family members are looking at them like, what's up with you?
Exactly.
Their friends are looking at them like, And no matter how much you know about this person, you never know what they're like in their uniform. And their ego. Like, I have literally told a friend of a friend's who would tell me, this girl, she was like, I work at one of the worst prisons in the world. I got sex offenders and killers and this. And I said, you sound afraid. You cannot protect people when you are afraid of them.
And when you don't feel them.
You should think about taking a different career path. Because you're going to end up hurting yourself or somebody else.
I've learned in this field, now granted I haven't explored all of the areas, but the area I work in, some people call it the hood. It's just really a impoverished neighborhood. So I work off Miller and Berry in Fort Worth. I love it because I love the people I get to interact with. Oh man, that's my hood. I've been there about a year and a half. That's my hood now. But the people I interact with, I don't look over my shoulder when I walk out into my car. And I've had some people who are new and people are telling them, walk to the car with the keys in your hand and et cetera. And I'm like, well, the basic is if you treat your probationers with respect when they come in your office, I'm going to call on my people when I need help. I don't feel like I have to look over my shoulder because when they walk in, I respect them. I listen to them. I love on them. I nurture them. I get on their ass and I tell them, go get your GED, go do what you need to do because statistically speaking, the more education, the less likely you are to reoffend and the less likely you are to end up on death row or in prison again. So I keep all of that in mind and I take that care into the job that I have. So I feel like
you're the
when
black
you have
mother.
people, mother, you're looking at me. Yeah. But I tell people, I feel like when people take these jobs, they forget this. I could have easily have been on the other side of the table. And I lead with that. When they first come in, I'm not judging you. Tell me what happened. Half of the time I don't even read your offense report because I want to know you first. And then I want them to know that my goal is for you to be finished successfully. And my goal is for you to never end up here again. So I treat them like a human being first. And then I build that trust and let them get into whatever else it is. So I would imagine that as an officer, you would want to build a rapport with the neighborhood you're working in.
Absolutely.
So people feel comfortable with you coming around and they want you to come around. And
I've run into patients. Like I left my house a few times. And especially when I lived in Denton. Patients would be walking my neighborhood like all the time. Hey, Miss V, I never had to deal with any of that. It's just like, hey, I had one ask me for a pen. Okay. That's it.
You don't quiver when they walk up to your car.
It's like, what's up with attention.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, it's when and you said it exactly as I've always said it, when you do right by people, you don't have to look over your shoulder no matter where you are, because there's always someone watching. There's always people paying attention to your moves. Yeah. And what you put out there, you're going to get back.
Absolutely.
You put fear out there, you're going to get fear back.
And if that's the case, you in the wrong field.
The wrong field.
And why are you here? But I feel like sometimes with the officers, I feel like they're there to exert some sort of power that they never had in their homes, or that they don't have in their marriages.
So I once encountered like a research that said that people who are sociopathic or psychopathic tend to be attracted to roles of power, and that police officer was ranked number 3 on like the top list.
I'm sure doctors are up there somewhere.
I can only imagine. Because you have other people's lives at your fingertip. Okay.
And we always have to take that into consideration. Like everything people tell me, I always weigh in other factors. So if a doctor tells me something, I look at it if they're a specialist or not. You know, if this is what you specialize in, you almost obsess about it, you know? Yeah. And so I have to know that what you're giving me is advice from the point of someone who's obsessed about this long enough to make it a career. Yeah. You know? Or if you're, you know, it's several things. I think about everything. Yeah. So I know how to take your advice, or I know how to approach you with things, because where I'm figuring out that you came from with this, like the perspective that you have, you know?
Yeah. And I would think that, so kind of getting into what we can be doing, you know, what we can be doing is raising more police officers, raising more lawyers, raising more judges, raising more council people, Congress people, more presidents.
Can I tell you what our fire signs came up with?
Yes.
So I have, like, when I get upset and outraged about like injustices and things of that nature, I always go to like Black Panthers and like how the gangs have changed and why the fuck are people like George Zimmerman still around.
But you out here killing Jerome that you grew up with.
But not even that, because gangs ain't even fighting like they used to. Like, they're trying to become businesses too, and I'm cool with that. Yeah. I'm cool with that. But at the same time, it used to be, if you hurt somebody from that gang, they was coming after one of your people. And I feel like police officers are a gang.
That's the biggest gang.
I feel like they are a gang, and I feel like they should have to think twice. At the end of the day, if somebody came after my family, I cannot say that I would not make sure that they weren't taken care of. Like, I might be a mafia man and like a past life, but but I feel like if we went a little eye for an eye, and it may be counterproductive, who knows, but if we went a little eye for an eye for a while, they think twice about killing us. Like,
now you speaking
my
language.
What I'm saying? Like, I knew, you know, I knew y'all would understand. So like, maybe they'll think twice. Like, if I shoot this
put
man,
a little more value on it. Put some respect on my color.
Like when you speed, you like, damn, I'm gonna hurry up and get there, but I might get a ticket. So I'm gonna slow down occasionally. That's what the hell I want them to do with our lives. Like, slow down occasionally.
Yeah, just think twice. Right. Just think twice. Might be a trap.
Kind of like studying a little bit more history. One thing I'm kind of starting to realize is that, you know, true change and revolution, you know, oftentimes involves a little bit of bloodshed. You know, I know we've kind of been fed like this, you know, let's be nonviolent, let's be peaceful. But
we're over forgiving. We're over forgiving.
I only got 2 cheeks. I've only been given 2 cheeks, and the other 2 cheeks are not for sale.
Exactly.
So, but you speak my language though, because I definitely I'm a lover of Black culture. So when you speak in Black Panthers, you definitely speak in my language.
They did a lot.
They did, and that's why when you look in the history books, they paint them a certain way. And let's not forget that MLK on his deathbed, on his way out, was understanding that, you know what, maybe I should have taken a couple steps back, and maybe me and Malcolm X could have worked together, because resistance is necessary. Resistance causes things, it pushes things.
And I will say, with me being on that part of it, I also understand you got to have money behind you.
Absolutely, economic
power. You have
power.
got to, because look at the over $500,000 raised for Shelly, whatever the fuck her name is, that refused to close her business. But there's like people that were fully arrested for cutting hair in their garages. And she's got $500,000 waiting on her. You know, as soon as she gets out, it's
it's like you get to buck the system, and you're a hero. You're held an American patriot.
And the governor comes after you.
Oh man,
and patronizes what everyone else has been having to deal with.
And the governor, if I'm not mistaken, what the governor said was she should not have been arrested for not obeying a
law to just keep her business open.
Right. In
Came
the
across almost angry.
yeah, like how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you? And it's like, okay, well,
You should have known.
yeah.
Like, could we not have done that 38 people ago?
But it was a government order, though, right? So,
Yeah.
but also, if we're gonna get into it, the Constitution and the amendments state that I am a man. It states that I am a human being, or was that applicable to us?
No.
So, I mean, let's talk about
No.
that. You know, we feel like we're granted these unalienable rights because we're citizens of the United States of America. But let's be real. When that was written,
it wasn't for
we
us.
were considered cattle. We were considered slaves, property. Yeah. So I think ultimately, if we're gonna cause a resistance, if we're gonna bear our arms, what we need to be demanding is that the structure of America is changed.
You know what? And I think that within our community, we have to pay a lot more attention to those around us, because something that the Hood Healer said, which I follow a lot of the things she says, and something she said, something she said is that our ancestors were not afraid to die.
No.
They weren't afraid to die.
Harriet Tubman said
And she was clairvoyant.
And what she said, what did she say? She said she would have shot her husband if it meant if it was going to keep her from her freedom. So I mean, which goes back to the black woman. So let's talk about that too. I mean, you know, we do feel the pain and what's all going on, but I wonder, what is it going to take for us to stand up?
And think about how outraged we as black women, as a black community, got over this Ahmaud Arbery case. But think about the black woman that was in Georgia, raped in the club on video.
Wow.
Think about how many people they victim blamed in that situation. The community does not care about black women the way that black women care about the community.
The black woman is the most unprotected and unrespected human being.
And then you think about it, because I was watching a live about this Malcolm Turner. He's another one. He's a little extreme, but he makes some really valid points.
Yeah.
That the black women don't even look to the black men for protection.
No.
They
We look
don't.
to each other.
They don't. When you see black men in public, you don't think, okay, he gonna have my back if some shit pop off. Typically. But when you see even videos, only old school black men are like that. You know, like the video of the pregnant lady in Walmart. I know you've seen that. In the Walmart parking lot with her daughter driving. Old school hopped out of his whip with his gun, like, try some shit. But where the fuck are black men these days doing? They're not doing that.
And if you're out there, stand up.
You know what I'm saying?
Stand up.
You know what I'm saying? Wear a cowboy hat. So I know
we need
it's real.
you. We need to get a badge. We need a flag.
It's like we've kind of gotten to this point to where, like, we've been fed like this idea of being incredibly, like, individualistic, like like we're not
Worry
looking out
about
for
you.
people anymore.
Worry about
We're just working out for our own.
And
it's
I'm sorry. I was just saying, getting back to the Black Panthers, I think we don't have to adopt everything, but the majority of what they stood for was us. It was community, it was usness, it was oneness, it was growth, it was economic power. When we talk about Harlem, when we talk about Brooklyn, when we talk about the West Coast, and we talk about Black Wall Street, it's possible. It starts with our economic dollars. It starts with us protecting ourselves. I mean, what's so wrong with policing the police? I'm not saying you got to walk up to them and, you know, and ruffle feathers or whatever, but what's wrong with saying, you know, like those gentlemen who walked the congressman into her job after those, the what they call them, I think they called them like patriots, I believe, patriots, or whatever they wanted to, whatever label they wanted to put on it. You do have a right to bear arms. So, you know, okay, they're getting to exercise that right. She also exercised her right by saying, you know what, I don't feel comfortable because of what they had swastikas, they had Confederate flags. That is ultimately a trigger for us. So what she did was, and you got you, and I got me.
We need people we need a resource. We need a center where people can say, like even Black politicians, you know, they need protection. We've got to protect people that are making these, like the female judges that we all celebrated on Facebook. Like, what have we done to protect them as a community?
And
who knows what they're dealing with in the workplace? You know what I'm saying? Give them somewhere to vent and to be heard and to be protected. You know, we need a resource like that again.
We need to be trained to protect ourselves and stop looking to the outside for things to be done. And I respect, again, I think because I know officers, my attitude has changed, and I will quickly say, you know what, if something happens, I'm not calling the police, I'm calling this officer or that officer. Or I'm gonna text and say, or I'm gonna call and say, what area is so-and-so in, I need to speak with so-and-so. And so it does pay to know people in those areas, but what I would like for us to see, and what I would like for us to do is to stop looking to the outside for things to change and start looking within and say, you know what, if y'all aren't gonna police what's going on in the neighborhood, oh, we got it. We got it. I mean, we know y'all will be here when y'all see a group of us.
I mean, think about.
So, I mean, but we got it.
During the quarantine, cops were not responding to.
I barely saw them.
I barely
saw them.
But life was good. People were walking freely.
Yeah.
They were spending time with their children.
Yeah.
Pets been getting loved on like hell. People been cooking more.
Crime has been down.
And so.
Yeah. It's almost like that was therapy for us too. We needed that time.
It was a reset.
We needed that time. We weren't worried about being attacked by officers. And I think that's kind of part of why this hit so hard. Cause like, man, I thought we was getting it together. Everybody was good. We were repairing relationships. We had sisters talking to each other who hadn't talked to each other in years. Like you said, we had families walking their dogs. We had everyone was kind of getting back to that togetherness.
I think that the fear, so I've been saying this, and I had a dream a few nights before Donald Trump became the president. I had a dream, and I said, you know what? It's going to be bad, but it's going to be more good than bad. It's not going to be all bad. He's going to show what shit really is. Because the Hood Healer said this again, and I quote, that President Obama, he represented a far more progressed society than we have right now.
Yeah.
So it was a false sense of accomplishment. And in almost in a way, kind of set us back.
Yeah.
Just because we got comforted and comfortable and confident with that, like cocky with it almost.
Yeah.
Like my president's black, but what else? Like you know what I'm saying? Like what else?
It's like they forgot all this. Like he had to fight just to get basic things passed.
They literally they cut this man down from his head to his fucking ankles.
Ooh, and let's talk about his wife.
His fucking ankles. And they were spotless.
Yeah.
You couldn't have gotten a better black president. We've got the trash of all trash presidents over here, and it's just, let's turn a blind eye to that. He said, grab him by the pussy, let's just let it slide. What if Barack Obama had said that?
Oh my God, he wouldn't have even been in the running.
Protests.
Yeah.
There would have been protests.
It's like nails on a chalkboard when I hear people say no other president besides Trump has been attacked this much.
Wow.
The lie. So where have you been?
They attacked him.
In my culture, that is a full belief that he is the most attacked and criticized president.
And it just turns them into extremists. People that support him, they go even further to support him because he's the victim now.
Yeah,
and it bothers me. Yeah, that victim mentality bothers me because it's like y'all are protesting and saying your civil rights are being violated because you can't go get a fucking haircut. But we're just protesting because we just want to live.
Right.
We just want to live. We look, y'all can go and get your haircut. That's cool. We got you from over here. Go and get your haircut. But can y'all leave us alone? Can I run in peace? Can I, hustle in peace? Because, you're not hiring me in certain jobs.
You know what? The thing that the line that gets me going is they think they can just blank and get away with it.
Well,
it's almost like that undertone to the shit they say.
But do they think it?
No, I'm saying they think that about us. Is we can just do these things.
To play advocate though,
like
they are. It's almost like from our point of view, it's frustrating for me because it's like we want to say they think. But shit, they are. It's not that they thinking it.
Well, no, I'm saying they think that. They say that about us whenever things happen with us. Like if you get pulled over by the cops and you don't listen and you get killed, it's like, he think he can just disobey the law and get
Sandra
away
Bland
with
think that she could just know the law. And,
not even just that, but her case really fucked with me.
Oh, yes.
Real, I had nightmares about it.
Yeah, same.
Because she got pulled over for not signaling.
And ended up murdered.
First off, I never signal unless there's a cop behind me.
Yeah.
Even if he don't signal, I don't signal. Okay,
right, get off your computer.
But when's the last time you heard someone
when someone is finding something, or when they feel like you're suspicious, or like, because they want to make a routine traffic stop.
I'm not gonna start. My sister backed into the side of my car, and I was like, "Don't worry about it. Just go. Don't worry about it. We're not gonna hit any insurance. I don't care that much. Don't matter to me. Whatever. It ain't no dent. It's a scrape."
Yeah.
From that point on, I had been getting pulled over. She even got pulled over in my car because they stereotype your car. Yeah. They look at it and they're like, "Oh, she probably doesn't have insurance."
I've never got. So my car is just as basic as possible. I don't even have any tint on the windows. You can see everything I do with my car.
She sneezed. You saying "bless you" from across the street.
I don't ever get pulled over.
Yeah.
If I drive her car, I get pulled over because her windows are super dark. You can't tell who's driving it. It's just.
I feel like a drug dealer had my car before I did. But
probably. They probably got your license plate too. You never know. Yeah. But even then, just so if we're gonna be demanding changes, what do we really want to change? I mean, I know that's a broad question, but.
So, like, something which she and I were having a conversation, which led me to comment on your post, which got us here.
Thank you.
Is that, like, even myself, I'm not super involved in politics. My aunt is a addict. Like, if you add her on Facebook, you'll see politics all day. Yeah. She can tell you the ins, outs, and in-betweens of anyone that's running for anything. So she may be a good one to add to this next time, but I kind of steer clear just for my own sanity, but I'm gonna have to get more involved just because that's the only way to reach the majority. Because I feel like white men in power have benefited from people like myself that would rather stay out of it for peace of mind. Because when you get invested and it's a fail or it doesn't, play out the way that you're anticipating and everyone around you is anticipating and they're all going for it, just like Donald Trump becoming president. It was a hard slap. It's like, oh, why do I even do this? But, you kind of have to get refocused on the overall goal. And paying closer attention to who's being elected as DA, who's being elected as prosecutors, who's being elected for any of those. The judges, Like she gave me a good example. She's like, there was a trial she was listening to, and it said, like, the judge was listening to the defense and was like, I know you guys were lying about that. You can tell.
So this is the defense attorney. They basically called the defense attorney a liar. And the judge. In front of the jury. And the jury heard that and sent a note to the judge and was like, so now that you've shown that this person's a liar, do we listen to anything? That was a
sounds like the whole case should have been thrown out at that point.
What's his name? Adon Syed, who was a Middle Eastern defendant, and the jury just basically was like, can we even trust anything they say now? Because the judge had so much power just by one little sentence changed the mind of 12 people to not trust anything that came out of the defense table.
Like, had you not had a judge that would have said that could have went completely different. Like if one would just looked and then be like, then that could have been a complete. And that's the trouble I have with the justice system.
Or do your job, stay impartial.
Is that possible?
I feel like it's really hard. I feel like it's really hard because I think about it like this, as a business owner, you get all of these things. Like even you guys, it's your business. You guys get gifts galore from other companies that just want your support. They just want you to say, I'll work with you if the opportunity arises. Right? Think about the judge. The kinds of things that get sent to a judge. And how often. You know what I'm saying? Think about it like this. If I have a traffic ticket and I don't call them within 30 days, I now have to go hire this lawyer. You know what I'm saying?
Regardless if you did it or not.
To get them to speak for me about a ticket. Because I now can't just go in there myself and be my own lawyer. I got to get this lawyer to go talk to them for me and do all these things. What if my lawyer was not one of the ones sucking up to the judge? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's just crazy.
It's a lot of politics.
I feel like as long as people are involved, it's just...
Politics can be messy, and I'm not all knowledgeable about it. I'm actually just now trying to dive into it myself because I feel like we do need to know. And when you messaged me, I was like, all right, gotta bring information to the table. So I'm calling judges, I'm calling the council people that I know, and I did talk to one lady from my neighborhood who was running for a council person. And I interviewed her and I was asking her, you know, what do you think we need to be doing? What's going on? Like, who do we need to be talking to? What avenues do we need to be taking? I know I'm asking you a lot of questions, but I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So first thing she said was, well, first of all, let's talk about jury selection. And you had mentioned that, and I was like, okay. And she's like, well, let's talk about the people who are on the jury. How are those people selected? Maybe we need to change the process of the people who are selected for the jury.
How are they selected?
Well, so I have to call. I have to do my research.
Okay.
But as we were talking, I was thinking, right, write that down.
Are you talking about who gets the notices? Or
Like,
how
yeah.
they-
Well, either way, because we got down the rabbit hole, and I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm from Denton County. I've lived there my whole life. I pay taxes. I vote. Never had anything on my background. I've always worked. I've never been selected for jury services. I've never received anything in the mail. I've never not gone. I actually used to work for the probate court, and I learned a little bit there. But I was like, why have I never been selected?
Do you think that maybe they think you're impartial because you work with them every day?
I think, and this is all prior to that, I believe, honestly, they do research before they bring people in. Now, I could just be a conspiracy theorist, but everyone who knows me knows I'm definitely on my soapbox on my social media. And I've been this way since high school. So I'm wondering, do you look at those things and say, you know, is it a bias, a preconceived bias before you bring people in? What is the avenue? What is the process? Because if I'm a tax-paying citizen and I vote, should not have been selected at least at some point.
Right.
Now, at least you dismiss me after I come in and you ask me questions, but I've never been selected. And she suggested, well, maybe that's a question to ask them. What is the process when selecting a jury? And there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors at the courts. That the avenue that I worked for was the probate court, so I worked with mental health. So Google says, each county receives a list of potential jurors from the Secretary of State that consists of those individuals in the county that are registered to vote, hold a Texas driver's license, or hold an ID. And citizens on those lists are randomly selected and mailed a summons to report for jury services. So all in all, as long as you have a driver's license and you pay taxes, and you'll be mailed a summons to the report for jury services. I'm interested in, have y'all been selected?
Yeah,
Do you
know
fit
what?
that list?
I did, but I had to work at Mayhill at the time, so I got out of it.
Thank you
I'm
so
always,
much for coming.
I'm always like suspicious of randomly selected.
Everyone, we're gonna say bye to Darryn because he's got to run out.
And I'll answer the question right quick.
Yeah.
So I have been picked several times, but I was a student at the time, so I couldn't get out of it.
Oh, okay.
Did you say so I
We'll
could
talk.
get out of it?
Yeah.
That's where we're at. I mean, and I understand it. You have this built-up anxiety about it. It's like
It's a lot of pressure.
Because we had talked about this previously, and in my culture, you were raised that is a privilege.
Yeah.
To be able to be selected on a jury, like if you get to be on a jury,
We-
Consider it an inconvenience.
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
we working on it, you know. We
But I
working.
see it. I see it though.
Yeah. Well, definitely, I'll have to bring you in soon again, and I'm gonna
Alright.
get you your information.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
So knowing all of that though, it seems like you're knowledgeable at least about that part. What reasons? So randomly selected. What does that mean? Is it you put it in the
I'm
system?
always suspicious about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like,
I feel
how are
like,
they randomly selected? The same way they randomly select people for drug tests.
Right.
Right. So that's a rabbit hole I'm definitely gonna have to go down. I'm one of those people. I'm
I want to
take
know
off.
who's doing it. Is it? Don't say it's the
Yes.
computer because I know.
Yeah, so even when I worked for the probate court, so for people who aren't familiar with probate court, they handle mental health, they handle like estate and land, and they handle so if someone passes away, they handle probating estates, meaning who gets what land, what money. They handle guardianships for people who have mental health disabilities in their adults, so figuring out who's going to take care of them. But I didn't know until I had been there that apparently there's a special jury that handles estates and handles what they call eminent domain. So I had it was a lady who came in. She was a black lady, new to the area, very established, had a lot of degrees. She came to the judge and interviewed to be on this special jury selection. And I don't know what the process is. So I'm definitely shooting in the dark here. But all I know is with all of that establishment she had, the judge said she wasn't qualified for that specific jury selection. And so I interviewed her for my program. My program was a volunteer-based program. We would go out and just check on people in guardianship. And when I talked to her, you could tell it was almost like a hit to her gut. You know, she's new to this area. She must have not been used to, you know, around here, you know, you got to know somebody to know somebody.
Especially if she's out of state.
Yeah. But and I wouldn't imagine why not. She's well established, a very educated woman. And when I interviewed her, she was like, well, I'm not interested in volunteering. I don't understand why the judge even gave you my information. And so I was like, well, what was it that you were interviewing for? And I got to go back and figure out what it was, because I had another lady asking me about it. But apparently just in that, you have a judge who determines if you're qualified enough to serve, to be on a jury about land and estates and eminent domain. So
I was telling her that I think that the judges are the most powerful position in this country.
That and a prosecutor.
Absolutely.
Like, the judges are the only people that can overrule the government.
Yeah.
They have all the power. Like, you think about the Supreme Court, nothing tops that.
Yeah.
When something's decided there, it's final. Like, all of these judges go through the system and end up there. It's like, that's the position that needs to be targeted. That is the position that needs to be, that is how you hijack the system.
Yeah. And that leads into the second point of the council person. She was saying, you know, we have to vote. And it's kind of like, you know, a buzzword now. Vote, you gotta vote. And I'm a
But that's because they're all talking about voting for the president, and it's like, no, we all know how that works now.
And
so
we feel so out of touch, and we feel like we don't have the power at our fingertips.
And because there's so many people against the progress, because their fear is that if things change, then they're gonna suffer.
It's a threat to the system,
you know. So it's like there's so many more of them than there are of us, you know.
But let's talk voter suppression.
Yep.
And what Charlemagne the God calls voter depression. We're just so overwhelmed. We're done with it. We're fed up. We don't want to vote. We feel like our votes don't matter.
If someone can say on camera, doesn't matter what I do as long as I'm Republican and I'm a white man, and then they actually become the president a few years later, and they have a horrible track record in business and anything they do
he
ever.
He wasn't a Republican before. He used to be a Democrat, but he couldn't win in that field. Because, and so he switched sides because he knew he could get elected as a Republican.
It's and if that can happen so blatantly, it's like. You know, like
you understand why people say my vote doesn't matter, or people talk about electoral colleges and how, you know, if Texas is naturally a Republican state, then it doesn't matter what you do. And again, I'm not knowledgeable in that area, but I can understand, because for the longest I was like, I'm just voting locally. I'm not even worried about presidential, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because Texas, whatever.
It's a red state.
But I believe that there's a possibility to change things, and what I believe is, we have to use, almost like what Diddy said, we do not hold our vote hostages, but we have to make demands. And so we have to make demands of not only presidential leaders, but our local leaders. If you want us to vote for you, then what we need from you is X, Y, and Z. But then that begs the question, do we know what we want as a people? And are we willing to put in the time, which is the most expensive thing we have, to go to these meetings, to make demands, to ask questions, to put people we know, you know, we got this young, educated young person. We're going to pay, we're going to all build and put in as a community for you to go to law school, or for you to go over here. So when you run for this local official, we will vote for you. It takes time. I mean,
I think that it takes circulating that, just like we circulated Ahmaud Arbery's video. Like, I would love to see if that ever came across my timeline. Yeah. I would support it.
So what she was saying when I was asking, okay, what do we do? She mentioned some meetings that we can be going to, and committees we could be a part of. She mentioned, of course, the NAACP. So getting involved with your local NAACP chapter, getting involved with your Juneteenth committees. I'm from Denton. I don't know who's all on the Juneteenth committee, but it's some people that don't look like us on the committee planning these events. The event is dang near non-existent because we're not going. It's a lot of politics behind it that I don't know about, but in order for me to talk about it, I got to know about it. So
you got to get in there?
Yeah, so she's talking about the Juneteenth committee. There's a Southeast Denton Neighborhood Association. So wherever you are city-wise, getting involved in those local chapters, the local committees. tapping into the ACLU, tapping into the Southern Poverty Law Center, tapping into the different law groups. If you're a lawyer, if you want to be a judge, wherever it is you want to go, tapping into those different organizations and saying,
First go first.
oh yeah.
First go first.
But yeah, tapping into those things and put your money where your mouth is. You know, I got on my soapbox and said, you know what, I'm not happy about it, but I got a homeboy who teaches and can do CHL licenses. Bet, say less. I'll put up money to fund for 2 people to get the licenses.
He teaches it?
Yeah, he does. He's licensed to do it, and so I have my license.
Has he been
here.
like?
He's right now in Austin. I actually talked to him. I've been bugging him, and I'm like, you know, he lives in Dallas, actually, right up the road. And I'm like, I will pay you to train 2 people to be to get their concealed handgun license. That's what I can do. I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
Same.
I'm buying black. I'm involved in organizations that help the community. I mentor, so you know I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
Right.
So I'm willing to do those things. I'm willing to do what I need to do to get involved in those organizations. So starting with this, it frustrates a lot of us because this young man was gunned down. Oh, now you want to go and run out and get guns. That's fine. Legal or illegal, at least get trained and do it the right way. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but if you want to carry a gun, at least give us something to fight with.
Right.
So go and get licensed.
Right.
I know a guy. And if he's not going to do it, I know some other people where I got my CHL. It wasn't a black-owned organization, but I will go back again because it was great. But, of course, I'm going to give him the opportunity first. But if you're not going to do it, I know somebody else that will.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's several here in Dallas that will do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we could start there. And, I mean, the Black Panther Party was knowledgeable. They knew their rights. They weren't all lawyers, but let's talk about Dr. Huey P. Newton here. Let's talk about Bobby Seale. They were knowledgeable about what was going on in the community, and they didn't mind using their rights to protect our communities. Let's talk about Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. We don't have to be Islam to buy into a lot of the things that they're saying, because if it's ultimately going to benefit the community, it doesn't matter if you're Hebrew Israelite, it doesn't matter if you're Christian, it doesn't matter if you're atheist, it doesn't matter if you're lesbian, gay, transgender, straight, non-hetero, fluid, whatever you want to identify as. When I see you, how can I help you? And I want you to know that I see you. So I think that's a good place to start.
Absolutely. Dang, she boy.
My bad. I get on my
came with it, didn't she?
Yeah, I did. I did a little bit of research. Definitely a little bit of research. But I mean, we can start there. And on a basic level, what we can do is love on your black sons and let them know that we see them. And it is okay to make a mistake. It doesn't matter if you are, or if you were in a gang. You know what? OGU is an organization I'm involved with. There's a lot of reformed gang members in there that are going back into the community to do good. Nice. And if we're going to talk gangs, let's talk about the origin of the gang. Stanley Tookie Williams originated the Crips to benefit the black community. So we can get back to it. It's possible. We can get back to it. It's just a matter of, are you going to talk about it? Or are you going to be about it? And are you going to put your money where your mouth is?
Don't let me be about it, because I'll start all mafia up in here. I'll just support it wherever it's at.
Yeah.
Every single time, man, I'm telling you, like, because I'm an initiator, so anything I want to start, I'm going to start.
And it does start with conversations, too.
But I also am very hot-headed.
Okay.
So these kinds of situations just put me in an uproar, and I hate everyone I see that's anything like the person that, committed this heinous crime.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, as I'm assuming you're an advocate for you use your privilege to benefit the black people that you love around you, and even not people that you love around you, but you use your privilege. And I've heard that.
We have a homeless boo around the corner that was getting harassed by cops, and she sat and she watched until they let him go. So
to the people that might see this that might not be black and they want to do something, what would you suggest they do?
I mean, they have to speak up. Well, they have to open their eyes first. Because I know, like, a lot of people that I speak to, they are shocked that racism is still a thing.
And I tell people that, and they're like, who can even think that racism is?
You'd be surprised.
I said, well, when you live in a country that works in your favor, you love this motherfucker. You love it, and it's great, and the trees are fucking blooming, the wind is windy, and life's great.
And what we call that is privilege.
Yeah, I mean,
but you don't know privilege if you don't know lack of. You know?
And they talk about America, the land of the free. They're not talking about anybody but white people when they say that. Like, the only people free in America are white people. If you're being honest.
Yeah.
I can do stuff that you guys can't do, and I can get away with it. You know, like we talk about, she always wants to get a gun, and I'm like, absolutely not, because I can open a glove box.
I got a BB gun for the record.
Yeah. And that's okay. I believe you can purchase those at Walmart. I believe you're still legal, so you're good to go.
It's a legal gun.
For now, wait till I get my CHA.
But I won't let her put it in the car.
Yeah.
Because if someone mistakes that, and then she loses her life, and it's a justified shooting, you know, in their mind and in the eyes of many people in this country.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first thing is, like, people have to open their eyes and realize that racism is still very much a thing.
Yeah.
That while we get to enjoy freedom, not everybody in this country does.
Yeah.
And then you have to speak up. I think that they need to do the same research. I honestly really believe that you can do all this stuff, you can protest all you want, and it will not change anything, because this is not an equal country.
Yeah.
We are not equal in the eyes of our country. As shitty as that is, we're not.
Yeah.
And so right now, like, my vote has more power. My like, when I do stuff, it means more. And it's shitty, but it's the truth.
And it's an everyday
that.
life.
Yeah.
Like, we have done the same activities separately just to see. I mean, I can't think of any examples right now.
Something as stupid as, like, she was trying to get cupcakes at Costco. And she was trying to get them within a time limit that they don't do. And so they told her no. And then I called not 10 minutes later, and it got done by the sound of my voice. And so there is power in
negotiations are a lot easier
Yeah.
for her than they are for me.
Yeah. I mean, people automatically assume that I have more money, that I'm from a better family, that I matter more because I am white, and because I can speak like intelligently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that you have to use that power to help those that don't have that same power.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I don't know what you guys feel on a daily basis. I don't know the fear of getting pulled over by a cop. I don't know any of those experiences.
Well, I've had cops try to incite anger in me. Like, I speed a lot, so I get pulled over frequently.
Yeah, and I've been on the
and I call her. I call her as soon as the lights come on, so she can hear. And cops, literally, I've had a cop yell at me. It was a black cop, old black cop in Mesquite. He's actually a sheriff or a marshal or something. And the marshal was there that pulled me over. And they're like, well, what's your plea? I said, well, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And they laughed. And I'm like, what else do I need to say?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I think about it to a deep level. Like, when we get pulled over, like, she got pulled over one time, and the cop didn't come up to the window. He never got out of the car. I made sure that my white skin was hanging out the passenger side window. Like, I made sure.
And he literally, like, I wouldn't talk to him. He was just like, why are you speeding? Well, I'm trying to get home. You know?
Yeah.
He's like, well, do you know, like, I could take you to jail if I wanted to? I'm like, I'm aware of this, you know? He's like, well, you need to quit speeding. Like, I'm like, I understand.
Yeah.
Give me my ticket and let me go on about my life. Like, you're not my parent. You're not someone I just have to take this lecture from. Give me my shit so I can go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I literally looked at him like, who the fuck you think you are?
Yeah.
You're just a regular guy when you go home.
Yeah.
I know what kind of watch you have on. If I wanted to, like, be a sharpshooter around this hoe, I know every cop that's ever fucked with me. I know one had a black G-Shock on with gray face. I know what the fuck his wedding ring looks like. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that if I were as dangerous as I could be, they would have a lot to fucking answer to. Yeah. Because, you don't just go around throwing your weight around like you're not just another piece of water in this world. Yeah. And I think that cops need to be reminded that there's public servants. Yeah. Yeah.
You are a public servant. There's a lot of politics involved in that. You are here to serve. Yeah.
You're not here to flex your ego. You're not here to gain it. You're not here to build it.
Yeah.
But all of this back the blue, which grinds the hell out of my gears because it didn't come about until cops started killing us all the time. The back the blue, I mean,
Blue Lives Matter.
Think
which
the cop
consists of
today.
black
Think the cop
officers.
today. How about think the fucking janitor today?
Yes.
Think
The
your
teachers,
Parks and
yes.
Rec today. Think your teachers today. Think. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you know how many thanks I got working 8 years in psych? When we take the people that cops cannot deal with in their cells, they literally dump them off. They bring them in handcuffs to our facility.
Yeah.
We don't have handcuffs.
Yeah.
We ain't got no physical restraints.
Yeah.
We ain't got all that. All we got is our mouth, respect, in a seclusion room.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to say, because this is definitely gonna have to be a different topic, but just talking about like how can we. So me personally, terror is real, and trying to build relationships with people who don't look like me, who say, you know, I'm here to advocate for you, I want to help you. It's a struggle for me, and I didn't always grow up with this, but being a black woman who unintentionally always challenges things, and I'm learning now, it's just me wanting to learn more information, and people are threatened by my intellect and by the things that I say, and I just want to be able to be me.
Part of me wants to start a walk up to a cop challenge.
That's super dangerous.
It is dangerous. It's
Well, just
definitely-
walk up to, like, just
You
walk
guys
up
are
to them.
trying to win a war that's going against you. This is not in your favor. Arming yourselves only makes them
Not arm them.
And here's
No,
the
no, no,
thing,
no, no,
though.
no,
Here's
no,
the thing.
no.
Arming, I feel like
Hear me
arming
out.
ourselves
Hear
are
me out.
necessary.
Hear me out.
though.
Hear me out.
But they
Hear
shoot
me
you
out.
at the thought that you
Hear me
might
out.
have a gun.
Hear me out.
We should be able to.
It
Hold on.
changes but it changes
Hold
the
on.
field. Hold on.
Yeah.
I said my
But I
thing.
didn't get to finish.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my walk up to a cop challenge would be a TikTok challenge that would literally record you walking up to a cop, shaking their hand. Just reducing the tension. Walk up to
play
them. Just,
to play advocate, to play devil's advocate. I can understand being in their position, someone walking up to you, not letting you know what their intentions are, because they almost have to be on guard. So I can understand from their perspective, because I've done a couple ride-alongs, I know a couple people, and I can only imagine when you put your badge on, when you put your uniform on, black or white, Hispanic or otherwise, you put it on, you don't know what dangers you're walking into. So I can understand for them, you almost have to be on guard, because that hesitation to pull that gun could mean your life or theirs. So I understand it, but I get where
so
you're
maybe
coming
you
from,
stop
too.
a little further away. Just be like, hey, can I shake your hand? Or now
Yeah,
that it's Corona
okay.
time, can I give you a fist bump?
Yeah,
or an
yeah.
air hug? Or something to just loosen the tension, because there's such a gap that it only breeds that fear.
Yeah. What do you
You
say
know?
to the officers who, so you do have some community police officers, some people who do go out to community events. I know I see that a lot more now in our neighborhood, where they do come out to Juneteenth. They do have booths. They do try to mingle with the communities they're working in. I believe that is a good step. It is a good step.
But it shouldn't take a celebration.
It should.
It should be everyday
part,
stuff.
That part. It shouldn't just be that, you know, you're like they walk around on the square and
And be
all
a
the
cop
time.
in your own neighborhood.
That's what I was going to say earlier. You know, we need to be training more of our children to not hate or despise officers, but to, okay, if that's what you want to do, change it from the inside out. But then, can you really, with the police unions and with the...
It's a gang. So if you don't come in doing things the way that they want you to, then you're gonna have hell to pay.
And it could be a matter of they don't respond as fast as they need to a certain scene.
Because
to a
if you
certain
don't have their
situation.
support,
Yeah.
you've got to have the team. You've got to have the teams if there's a
I don't
crisis.
think you change the police station. You change the people that hold the police accountable.
I think you change the politics around it, so you can change the policies, you can change how they're trained, and
Well,
start there.
I also feel like the economy is going to change it for them to a degree, just because things are changing. Whether
It
they
is.
like it or not,
Yeah.
business is changing. The stigma attached to black businesses is changing. There's some strong black entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And like I say all the time, this is the blueprint phase. This is where
Yeah.
you establish, you put your feet in the ground, and you establish your clientele and your following, because their kids are going to be your following.
Yeah.
Their kids, that's where we're getting. I've always, gone
Yeah.
to this corner store because these people, my mom always went to this corner store with these
Yeah.
people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And small businesses will run the world
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Do you think that black people should call the cops?
I think we should have the right to call them without fear of
That
us
they're just
losing our
gonna
lives.
kill us.
Like you think about, I don't remember her name, which is really shitty.
Oh, in Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Had that neighbor called another neighbor and they went and checked it out together, she'd still be alive.
So here's my thing. like I said earlier, when you know certain officers, you don't necessarily have that same hesitation because I know who's patrolling this area. So maybe we could become more knowledgeable of who's servicing our areas, and we can start making certain demands. We do have meetings where you can go and talk about the different crimes. I mean, the information
Are there meetings
is available
for us to meet all newly badged cops?
Yeah,
like,
and then
can we do that?
And we can, and we can make requests.
I saw a thing where this black mom took her child to the police station whenever they moved to a new city, and she would take her child to the police station to meet all the cops, so that when they saw her child in the street, they knew that he wasn't what they might assume he was.
I like that. I like getting to know, and I think that's also it too. Local officials, police officers, judges. If you feel out of touch, you kind of lose the humanity, you know. Yeah, so maybe we could lower or lessen or get rid of that stigma of, okay, well, I'm a judge, I don't have to, you know, or I can't because I'm afraid of. Well, maybe if you came down off the pedestal a little bit and got to know the people that you service, maybe if you understood that little Jamal is going through it because his dad died, maybe you would have judged him a little bit differently when he was in your courtroom. But just going back to what we were saying earlier, my request to people who want to advocate on our behalf, who have that privilege, what I would ask for them is, give me a stage. Give me a platform to use my voice and sit back and let me do what I do. Period. You know, I think that's what they can be doing, which I think we're getting there. I think the tides are changing. I think millennials get it. I think some of us just want to live in this utopia. We do just want to be okay.
I just imagine, and I had this conversation yesterday with a close friend of mine. I imagine trying to speak mental health with my family, my parents.
Oh man, yeah.
So trying to speak mental health to them is almost what I'd imagine speaking progressive change to white parents and grandparents would be. It's almost impossible. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, I can only imagine what the conversation's like, but.
Yeah. And not be as defensive. Be open. You know, be open. And that's all of us.
We're open to I will have a conversation with someone who completely disagrees with everything I say, as long as we are talking from a valid point and fact place versus an emotional one. I will sit down with anyone, you know. But I think that's the difference between generations, is that we're willing to have the conversation. Yeah.
So initiating the conversations, and again, give us the platforms, give us the avenues, use the resources that you know we're not able to get. Use your privilege.
So what does that look like?
So in this situation, I mean, if I were in Georgia and I was a local official, I would use my voice to advocate for the black community in that moment. I wouldn't have allowed it to get as far as it was. I would have been kicking up dust. I would have been fussing. I would have been, yo, look at this video. This is what we need to do. This is outrageous. If I was Joe Biden, I wouldn't just demand transparent investigation. I would say, do this or else. That's what I would be doing. I would say, okay, in my position, I'm going to host something and I know I'm going to get all the views, or I know that I'm going to get everyone to come and participate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you think I'm doing it. I'm going to use my privilege. But what I'm going to do is sit back and let everybody else fuss about it. I want them to say, this is how they're feeling. This is what it feels like to lose a son. But you're using your audience. You're using your privilege. Almost kind of like I would say Ellen. She's a perfect example of how to advocate for the black community. She puts her money where her mouth is. She uses her platform and her privilege to advocate for us in all avenues. That's a perfect example. If you want to know what can you do to use your privilege, be like Ellen when you grow up. Have the avenue, have the platform, and let us speak. Just let us loose. No restrictions.
So that's like my long-term goal on top of the helping the in-betweeners. Yeah. Is to get the money, the platform, and all the things to kind of give people that aren't really heard. Yeah. No matter where it comes from, give them the opportunity to really speak their piece.
Yeah. And I think it'll start with, if we feel, I mean, our Black national anthem is Lift Every Voice and Sing. We've constantly been struggling for a voice in a voiceless America. So you give us our voice, allow us to speak. We can start there. We can set the table. You come sit at our table for a little bit, and let's feast on what we have set before you, and let's figure out what we can do. And I think that's where we can start. I think it's an amazing starting point, and we can go from there, because once we can be open to conversating and understanding, okay, this is where you're coming from. I never thought about that. Or, you know, I wouldn't have approached it that way, but I also am not in your shoes. Be empathetic, be open.
Do you think that in politics things would be differently if they had to sit down? Like if you think about it, they stand at a podium and they plead for you to believe everything they say from their point of view. Do you think it'd be different if people were sitting? Like if they had to have a seat and have an actual like conversation versus yeah.
I think it would be a shift. It would be a shift because it's almost like you're all leveled. You're all eye to eye. Your body language, your posture is a little more open, and you don't have a choice but to take turns. Pass the mic around.
And I feel like they would hear each other.
Yes.
Better. You know, like
okay.
Part of me wonders, like these little changes could do a lot for the communication barriers.
And that's so small. You know, I would have never thought about that either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
See, I'm always torn because I feel like when black people get louder, white people get more, they call to action. And so I'm always like, is it smarter to get louder or is it smarter to get a plan and move in silence? Like
that part, what you just said though, our biggest issue as a people is we are letting you know our move before we do it. Sit down and be quiet, like your mama told you. Sit down and be quiet. Move in silence. You know, Harriet Tubman didn't do what she was doing out loud. She sat down. She had a plan. She mapped it out. They put maps in their hair. They did everything they needed to do underground. And then when that foundation and those roots are set, you're going to watch my tree blossom. And then at that point, it's kind of too late. You know, we have what we need. And a lot of the Black Panther Party meetings used to happen behind closed doors. It used to be quiet. It used to be, okay, you know, this is what I need from you. These are the conversations we need to have. This is what we're doing. It was no power struggle.
All of these resources from every angle.
And have the meetings in your communities.
Yes.
White people aren't going anyways.
Yeah. And we do have to be aware of, you know, the infiltration. We understand that that's where a lot of the organizations were dismantled, is because there was infiltration. I think Malcolm X said they will use one of us against one of us to say it was one of us. You know, we can talk Nipsey Hussle all day. You can tell me it was a black man that did it.
Exactly.
But they also had, you know, the FBI, you know, Canto Pro definitely infiltrated the Black Panther. We can talk about that all day. But I think we have to get rid of that fear and say, you know what, it's worth the risk. Okay. It's a possibility that we might be infiltrated. It's a possibility that we might get a little bit too powerful and it might push. But I think that was the good thing about the Black Lives Matter movement when it first started, is you didn't have one specific leader, and that's why it was such a threat. And that's why
she made a good point of that we don't have one in Dallas
yet.
Yeah, I tried to I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to just join it, go in and see how I can help. Let them tell me how I can help. And I was like, wait, there's nothing here in Dallas. There's no charter here. There's nothing to even join.
I can tell you,
we had all those shootings in Dallas. I was shocked. I was like,
I think people are afraid of. I'm gonna just speak it, and I'm gonna be real about it. We have to stop being so afraid to die for what's real. Uncle Frederico Douglass wasn't afraid of a damn thing except for not being able to educate himself. Harriet Tubman wasn't afraid of anything except for not being able to free more people. And if she would have been able to free more slaves had they only known they were slaves. So what we have to do is stop being so afraid of bucking the system. Stop being so afraid of the ultimate resistance, which is death. We have to accept the fact that give me liberty or give me death is also applicable to us. So I think we have to be accepting of, this is my mission, this is my goal. By any means necessary, I'm going to help each other reach that goal. And I think the ultimate, I don't remember where I was reading, but the ultimate, actually I was reading Benjamin Crump, Open Season, and he said something in there that said he has this Black Pledge of Allegiance, and pretty much ultimately he's saying, if you hurt me and you think I'm bad, wait till you see my seeds. So I think that's what we have to do. We have to start educating each other and saying, okay, if you're not going down, that's fine. We got another couple of hundred behind us that's coming up, and be okay with it. But it's rare that we get the Tupacs. It's rare that we get the Nipsey Hussles. It's rare that we get the Barack Obamas.
More rare because it's just that the game is changing. What they'll do is they'll let one through the door.
Yeah.
and then convince them that they did it all by themselves.
Yeah. And then we reach a status that's not, I feel like once we reach the status we want to get to, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to forget all of that because they're accepting me now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, they'll convince you that you did it all by yourself, and if they wanted it bad enough, they'd do it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
It's that mind fuck, and it feeds into your ego, and then you don't understand the hustle anymore. You don't understand the marathon anymore. You don't understand where people are coming from when they are where you were, you know? So I think that's got a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, when I worked at the courthouse, there was a black attorney, and I didn't really know him. I can't even remember his name, but knowing that he was an attorney and knowing that I made it my duty when I see someone else of color in the courthouse when I worked there, I'm going to go up to you and just say hi. And one day, randomly, I just decided to do what I do. I interviewed him. I was asking him questions. And I was like, what do you think? Why do you think we have such a disconnect in the community? What is it that you think we could be doing to progress? Because we have so many people. People are making it. Let's not fake the funk and say people out here aren't making it. We do have more lawyers and judges and officers and politicians. We do have it. I was like, so what is it? You know, you're a lawyer. You're an attorney. Where do you think we're going wrong? And he simply said, well, Michelle, we're forgetting this in the elevator back down. You get to where you want to go, and you stop setting it back down. I want to thank Vee and Liz for sitting down and having this conversation with me, and I want to thank DJ for opening up and talking about something that we could tell was so personal to him. These conversations aren't easy to have, and when they hurt, it can almost be even more painful to express and try to find the words when sometimes there are no words. So I just want to thank them. I want to thank Vee for opening up the studio doors for us to have these interactions. And I encourage anyone listening, anyone who's tuning in, to reach out to your local officials with any questions or demands you might have. I want to encourage you all to get involved in your local NAACP chapters. I want to encourage you all to be registered to vote, but to also figure out what your vote means, because your vote does matter, your voice does matter, and your life does matter. Thank you guys for tuning in to Fully Loaded with Mecca Williams, your neighborhood hope dealer, and I'll see y'all soon.